Welcome to the Mastering the Game podcast. I'm your host, Jermaine Harris. In this episode, I'll be discussing the console wars. Recently, Phil Spencer, who is the leader of Xbox, admitted that they lost the 8th generation to Sony. So the 8th generation includes the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. Based on the success that we've seen with the PS4, I agree that Sony won that generation. So you've got games like God of War, The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Marvel Spider-Man. Games like that really supported the PS4 and drew a lot of attention to it. So I think that Xbox has kind of gone a little bit downhill in terms of their exclusives. So we have games like Halo and Forza, which, they do have PC ports or PC versions of that game as well. But for the sake of this conversation, I'll just consider it an Xbox exclusive. With those kind of games, and you can think of something like Gears of War, but those are really the only franchises that come to mind when I think about Xbox. However, just historically speaking, PlayStation has had so many other games that have been really good exclusives. So you've got, like I said, Spider-Man and God of War, but you've also got things like Sly Cooper and what's another one? Jak and Daxter. Just really good games historically that gave Sony a really good place in people's hearts, I think. So, and let's not forget about Nintendo. To me, they don't really compete in the same way that the PS4 and Xbox One do, or that PlayStation and Xboxes do in general, just because a lot of the games are geared more toward a family-friendly vibe if you're playing on Nintendo, rather than something that's a little bit more mature that you will get with the PlayStation or Xbox. I do like that Nintendo does have franchises like Pokemon and Mario, things that pretty much everybody knows about. So I don't want to completely discount them, but I do think that the PS4 did really well in this one because they had so many solid games that brought a lot of attention and buzz to the industry. And we even got to see that The Last of Us became a television show, which is pretty interesting because, how often do brand new properties launch or lead to a TV show? It doesn't happen all that often. So I think it's cool that happened from a PlayStation franchise rather than just Xbox. I think that there was a Halo TV show that came out on Paramount Plus at some point. But the fact that I can't even really remember when that actually happened kind of tells you that the overall buzz for The Last of Us was way bigger than the buzz for Halo. So I think that just in terms of impact, we can say that the PS4 definitely won that generation. Ironically, the console war started back with Nintendo back in the 1980s, whenever the NES came out, which is the Nintendo Entertainment System. So Nintendo was fighting up against Sega with their Genesis, and over time, Sega became less and less relevant and Nintendo became more popular. But once the PS2 came out, that really blew the Nintendo consoles out of the water in terms of sales, at least surpassed the home consoles. Consistently, Nintendo's handheld consoles have done really well. But to me, the PSP was a little bit ahead of its time. I have a feeling that if it came out, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, it would have been a lot better. In my last episode, I talked about the SOCOM franchise, and that was one game that I really enjoyed playing on my PSP, and having the opportunity to play something like that nowadays would be great. I think that with the Steam Deck, I could go and play a bunch of different games. However, I haven't gotten around to buying one yet. I'll probably get one. Recently, I've been playing a lot of PC games. To me, it's the most cost efficient one because they're pretty much not going to stop making games for PC. The thing that's frustrating though is that overall, it seems like as a PC gamer, we kind of get the short end of the stick sometimes. But I think in the long run, it's really nice to be more of a PC gamer now because it allows me to have access to a little bit wider of a variety of games compared to either console, the PS4 or the Xbox. I like that PlayStation and Microsoft are both bringing games that were originally just for their console onto PC. I recently got God of War and also Marvel Spider-Man on my PC, and I haven't had a chance to play too much of either one of them, but I love that I'm able to do that now. I don't want to say that PCs are the best console ever. I never really grew up as a person who was like, oh, PC is the master race type thing. Personally, I think it's really great, but I really more grew up as a PlayStation and Nintendo guy. I played a lot of my 360 as I got in high school once around the time that Modern Warfare 2 came out. The first one came out. So I spent a lot of time playing on my 360 at that time, and that's when I became more of an Xbox person. However, I say for the past maybe 6 or 7 years, I've been more of a PC guy because I've just seen the value of being able to use a device for more than one thing. I mean, PlayStations are great, Xboxes are great. However, with the PC, like I said, you get to do more than one thing. Like I get to do video editing podcasts like this, but also play games in 4K. I know that a lot of so if you want my personal opinion, I think that the PCs are and probably will always be the winner of the console wars because you have a chance to use it for more than one thing. However, if you really just want to get a specific franchise, like I said, God of War or Halo, well, Halo is on PC, but something like Pokemon, that they're probably never going to move Pokemon off of Nintendo. You would really want to get a specific console for that. So, like I said in the beginning, I think that Xbox kind of dropped the ball with the 8th generation because they didn't really have any real reason for anybody to buy one of those consoles. But PlayStation really gave you really plenty of good reasons to go out and purchase a PS4. Personally, I don't have one, believe it or not. However, I will probably get a either PS5 or PS6. I may wait until the PS6 comes out whenever that happens, just to have another PlayStation console. But to me, they won that console generation. Y'all let me know what y'all think. If you think that the PlayStation 4 is the better console, let me know. If you disagree, please let me know. Thanks for listening.